And rising beautiful souls, I hope you're all doing so wonderful. Okay, so today we are going to talk about what the heck is going on out there, what to expect, what's driving all this, right? What are these driving forces and energies? Okay, so what is going on is we've got these generational planets. The outer planets are changing signs, is what's going on. And so this is, if you could imagine, a clock with many, many, many gears. And the gears starting to line up all at once, right? Which takes some time. You can cycle through and cycle through and cycle through and cycle through, and it takes several decades, several hundreds of years for all of those to line back up to where they once were, since they're all on very different cycles. We have Pluto moving into Aquarius. This takes 248 years for it to cycle all the way around. So if you go back 248 years, we're going to about, let's just say 1776, okay? If you go back to this, if you think of the time, the energy of that time, that's what we're going to be going through, right? This was a time of revolutionary, is just revolutionary is the word, revolution, right? The Revolutionary War. We had several different things take place. We had a whole new financial system put into place. This is the foundation of what our lives, the society we've lived in, has been built on, is Pluto and Aquarius. And that's what we're coming up on. And this happens March 23rd is when Pluto will go back into Aquarius and stay in Aquarius. We felt this briefly in about May of 2020, around about then. So very briefly we felt this energy. So we also have at the same time Saturn, which is, it takes 30 years to go back around to come back to the sign that it's in at this point in time. So Saturn will be moving into Pisces on March 2nd. I think March 2nd, March 3rd. And the thing about this is the last time Pisces, if Angie could talk, the last time Saturn was in Pisces, we had Hitler. We had, well, not the last time, but let's see, we're going back. So, let's see, when was this? 1939, 1935 through 1939, about. So this was the time frame of Hitler. This was the time frame of different religious ideas becoming do's and don'ts of religion, and it being very strict and being very forced. There's oftentimes disease, issues with drug use, being either too much or being suppressed, as far as not being able to get to like the antibiotics that are needed, or being overly pushed. It's either very restricted or it's you must take this. It's either one or the other when we move into this time frame. Now you can feel all these energies that we've been building up to, but we haven't gotten there yet is the thing. So the fact that we haven't actually entered into this time frame yet, into this energy, but we've been feeling the buildup, just shows you how extreme it's going to be once we actually get there. And for this to happen, for two generational planets to happen all at once, and why is it called generational planets, is because you can go back through Saturn and you can see each generation and the differences based on what sign they were born into, right? And you can tell a person, if you say, oh, I was born in this time frame, then you pretty much know where their Saturn's going to be in their birth chart. So this is why it's a generational planet. So same, with Pluto, Pluto is or isn't, it's very Most people alive today have a very similar placement with Pluto because of how slow it is. Neptune is another one, and we've got Neptune. It's towards the end of Pisces. It's sitting at 24 degrees of Pisces, and Neptune takes 165 years to go through, and so just the fact that it's towards the end of a sign is it starting to really intensify that energy, and the fact that it's in Pisces, where it loves to be, where it's the most comfortable. We're going to have a lot of Pisces energy. I understand many people, this is the time of Aquarius, but we're really going to have a lot of Pisces energy. Piscean energy. So very flowy, very watery, right? This is emotions. This is very intense times. And the fact that we're pairing this with Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to be that technical, right? This is technology. This is going to be, we're going to see our huge advancement in technology. It's going to be crazy. So, all of this adds up to we're changing times. Everything that we knew growing up is going to be fairy tale. It's going to be like a bedtime story that kids don't believe, and they're like, wow, that's so weird. You used to do what? You used to walk in the snow? What? So, what it's going to be and what it turns out to be is truly up to each one of us. There are signs of the shadow all over the place. The shadow side of Pluto being in Aquarius, the shadow side of Saturn moving into Pisces is already all over the place. You can already see it all over the place. We have there usually is this ideology that's pushed with Saturn in Pisces, and this we can see with our youth at the current time. I heard a statistic that blew my mind earlier, which is the suicide rate for teen girls in the United States has gone up 60% in the last 10 years. It's 1 out of every 3 teenage girls feel the need to harm themselves or take their own life. And that's deep, man. So this is the effects of the ideology being pushed down people's throats. Okay, this is like a war of, you can see the prior war, the war beginning to whose ideology is going to be the one that rules this next generation, this period of Saturn and Pisces. Whose ideology is going to be the one that is shoved down their throat. And it's a battle. You can see the battle out there of, no, I'm right. No, I'm right. It's got to be this way. No, this way. And the mental health in our children, in our teens, is beyond anything that anyone from my generation or nearing my generation could even imagine. It's something that definitely needs to be it needs to have a light shined on it in the next, that's something that needs to be big. That's something that needs to be focused on big time here coming up, because the aftermath of these last few years is going to be mind-boggling. the damage that so many of these children are receiving at this point in time that is irreversible is mind-boggling. The technology and what it's doing to the attention span, to the dopamine and serotonin release in our youth is turning them into goldfish, which is truly sad. This has been not a foot war, but this has been a psychological war from the very beginning. And it has been both on the 3D realm and on a higher plane, a higher dimension, right? This is between good and evil. This is also between, and that reflects as above, so below, right? So, it affects all of us and everybody, and even those that don't understand what's going on, nor do they care to understand what's going on. It affects them too. And unfortunately, them not understanding it brings them greater grief. There is definitely with religion, this is Saturn in Pisces, and Aquarius and Pluto both have track records of book burnings as far as knowledge. Astrology and anything to do with it was deemed no good by people we now know to be very, very, very evil, and they're the ones that that got rid of it, yet used it themselves. Hitler had an astrologer. Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. He had an astrologer that told him when and where and what, and he listened to it. My personal view on that is the astrologer didn't like him and set him up on the last little bit, and that's what got Hitler's friend killed and what started a huge ordeal. However, many people in our history had astrologers, and in the end always seemed to have personal astrologers while calling it out and making it a bad thing as far as society, as far as a social thing. It's against the norms. It's and here I'm seeing a lot on many different platforms, different things, different comments being made about astrology. And this is something that gets into people's head. It's a subconscious thing. Again, this is a war. This is a psychological war. So this is nobody coming straight out and saying it. You might see one or two videos of people coming out and saying, oh, astrology is evil. But it's also little comments made from Brett Cooper, making comments about astrology and horoscopes, and about what a joke it is. But it's not. Excuse me, I forget her exact wording. But the thing is that when people make these kind of comments or judgments, accusations, it's an accusation that has no basis. She has no understanding of astrology or the horoscopes. Okay, when we talk about horoscopes, though, this is horoscopes. I will go with no, because the horoscopes have been meant to be very surface, right? Very, very surface, and usually based on your sun sign, which to me is not accurate. If you want something that's accurate, you've got to go with your rising sign. That's, to me, going to be the most accurate horoscope you can get. Based off of just one sign, unless you go and get a whole chart reading, which is the best thing you could do. I mean, really, that is. If you really want to get into it, you really want to go to horoscope, that's the way to go. is an actual chart reading. However, the thing is that the people that speak about this stuff know nothing about it. Nothing about it. It's talking about horoscopes as if it's a joke. Girls put, and I've seen girls putting stones in their bras and stuff. Okay, the crystals have an actual vibration. And if you want to test this theory, take one of your crystals and put it on a cube of ice and watch the vibration. Do quartz. Get one of your quartz crystals and put it on an ice cube and watch the vibration. The heat from the vibration of the crystal will melt the ice cube almost instantly. It's pretty neat. So, I mean, there's actual science behind a lot of this stuff with like the crystals. There's science behind it. There's science behind the way that it is cut is to a certain angles. The angles have to be to a certain degree, just so that it vibrates in a certain way, that it radiates in a certain way. I am not an expert on crystals. I just know that I love them so much because it's a thing. I don't know, it's a thing. It's been a thing since I was a kid, so this isn't like, oh my gosh, I'm a girl who wants to put crystals in my bra, but I do, still do. There's more to it, right? And the thing is that there's such a mental health crisis out there right now that if somebody feels like it's helping them, then that's right there, that's half of the battle, is your subconscious. So if you feel like something is helping you, continue to do it, because half of it is your subconscious believing that it's helping you. If you believe it's going to work, then it generally works. Just saying, and that's why, there is a lot of benefit to some of the stuff that may not have science backing, but the astrology, you can call it pseudoscience all you want. I see it getting canceled though, and that is a part of the cycles we've got coming up. Is astrology gets canceled out every time. So, it's something that I feel like I really want. It's the battle I want to choose to take is to help people understand it. Unfortunately, I'm not very good with my words and all that good stuff, like pointing out the charts and whatnot. I've got new cameras, and I've got a new webcam, and I've got the laptop, so I can show you guys the charts and stuff. But we'll get there. It just wasn't working out. My point is, I'm all over the place. The battle I want to choose is, I don't want astrology to get canceled. I want people to see that there is a huge benefit to following these cycles, to understanding these cycles, to tracing back what has happened in the past, what past events have happened when this planet is here in this sign, what's happened, and when it lines up with this other planet, what's happened in the past. Because you can almost always, 99% of the time, it is going to tell you the generalized theme for what is going to happen during that transit, during that period of time. And that is the beauty in all of this, is that we can look into this crystal ball and say, okay, well, this and this and this happened last time, so we know to be prepared for this. This is the shadow side of it, so we know that this is the areas we need to concentrate on that are going to need the most help to avoid this and this and this from happening again. How do we go about it? What's favorable? What's not favorable? Is it a good time to do this? Is it a bad time to do this? But this could be on the daily, or this could be a generational thing. You know, I mean, we can go over the centuries and see. We go centuries back, 2 centuries back, and 2.5 centuries back, and see what was going on, so we know what to expect for the next few years, the next 30 years to come. What do we expect? What's going to happen? Because Pluto is not moving out of Aquarius until, I believe, 2040, 2041, something like that. So we have a very long time until that happens. Saturn is going to make its way all the way back around, damn near, by the time Pluto gets out of Aquarius. So, I mean, we are about to set the foundation for the next several generations, like the next 10 generations or so. And that's a long time, 250 years. So we're setting the tone, you know, for what is to come for future generations. And when people want to take this as such a joke and manipulate it in so many different ways, it's disgusting. It's disgusting to see how it's being manipulated by those in power, those with the wealth, with the pull, with the say, you know, that knows somebody, you know, that is the somebody. These are the people at the meetings that are deciding our future and what to do. The thing is that they warn us. They tell us what's coming. The problem is that we don't want to believe that that's coming, because if we've got the option of spending our life being prepared in fear, right? Constantly being in fear of this stuff happening. We've got the option to live every single moment knowing that it's possible that this stuff could happen. So we cherish every moment, right? So many people want to ignore it, and I get it. You know, ignorance can be bliss. I get it. However, when you get to a point where you've got all these different cycles clashing and coming together at one period of time, your ass better be prepared. You better be prepared. You better be prepared with water, with food, with just being prepared for anything could happen, right? This is and it is happening. We're going to be overwhelmed with, like, this is a period of time. If it's confusing enough by itself, without social media, without the news coming out with UFOs and this and that and every other thing, without the added events that are obviously triggered by they're not natural. Okay, the train didn't just naturally crash and come out and derail. There was stuff done to it, and there's already proof of this. You know, I mean, sure, there's suspicion of this and suspicion of that, but obviously, I mean, the farmers were approached to ask to wear these biometric watches like a week before the train derailed. All sorts of local farmers. There's also suspicions of bombs that were placed by the church and other places. So there's a document that's called White Noise that literally, I mean, it's pretty detailed on exactly what happened. Only this documentary came out a year prior to it happening. So they're telling us, and now we've got, you know, people that like to dictate what's going on in our lives. This is, you know, several different countries here, that there's a Black Swan event coming, and also that there is going to be a much worse infectious whatnot on the rise, which Pisces and or Saturn in Pisces does have a history of bringing disease. So usually bacterial disease. So be aware of that. Be aware of that. Keep what you need on hand. And it, like I said, it also rules either an overuse of drugs or a suppression of drugs. And here in the United States, we have a shortage of medication already. And like I said, we haven't even actually, Saturn's not even in Pisces yet, which is crazy. So you can expect this stuff to intensify as we move forward. So these are the warnings. I'm giving you the warnings. I'm giving you the what to, just watch out for. This isn't be scared of it. Don't live your life in fear, because if you're living your life in fear, then they've already won, and you're very easy. Your energy will be low enough that it will be very easy to manipulate your energy, and you don't want that. So, try to stay as high vibrational as you can. Dance, sing, laugh, tell silly jokes. Don't be so serious. That's the message right there. If anything, don't be too serious. And I've got to remind myself of this. I've been in such a weird mood, but I am trying to say yes to everything. Been being asked instead of I'm busy or I don't feel like it or I'm not up to it at the point in time. Usually it's I'm busy because I'm cleaning this or cleaning that, and cleaning this or cooking that, or it's yeah. So I'm trying to say yes to stuff instead. So, because the cleaning can wait. There's more important things to do, like color, build a fort, go sledding out in the yard, something like that. That's more important. And it's important that we remember these things. So, yeah. There's a lot of static in the air, too, where I live. It's very, very dry. And you can tell that there is definitely something in the air. We've had a lot of solar flares. I don't know if that's why my hair is like so staticky. It's like somebody, like I get out of the shower and it's like somebody's been rubbing a balloon on my hair. So I've had to like oil it down just so it's not flying away everywhere. So I promise my hair's clean. It looks a little greasy, but this video's all over the place. This is the energy right now. I've been very quiet. It's been the brain doing like gymnastics in your head, like the brain just going, and things are getting a little more clear on what needs to change, where it needs to change, how it needs to change. So I hope that is reflecting in your life as well, of what areas, I hope it's getting a little more clear, because we're all going through it. It's a time to change. These solar flares definitely can make a person sick. I just got super nauseous out of nowhere. These solar flares are kicking off, and that can really do a roller coaster of emotions in a ride. Ooh, I might have to pause the video. That's another thing, is that these solar flares can make a person, they can give you headaches, fatigue. Make sure you're drinking lots of water, and can also upset your stomach, but it can also mess with technology as well, some of the stronger ones, which hasn't happened too much on my end for me personally. Other than the other day, we had an issue. Nothing was working. No idea why. Just nothing was working. The internet. So that's why I didn't get a video out earlier. So, I think that's what I have, is just kind of rambling and just letting y'all know that we've got, we're working up to it, and each week is making it a little more clear on where that change is going to be. Excuse me, both on a personal level and on a collective level. So, you know, there's some pretty cool transits that are coming up and whatnot, but like I said, it's more about the energies is what I want to talk to you about. And the energies are very, like I said, we're right there, getting ready to go on stage and open the curtain, right there, ready to open the curtain. And it's like we're peeking through and we're getting a better idea of who's in the crowd, how many people are showing up to the show, what kind of energy is the show going to be. And I don't know why I keep using this analogy, because the world is a stage. It is all a stage, right? So, however, I think I do really see the divide, and I feel the divide in the timelines, realities, whatever you want to call it, is that you can see like there's one area where everybody's really going for the narrative, right? And they're clueless to anything else going on. Like there's a deeper spiritual, more there's a war between good and evil going on, light and dark, right? They're clueless to that. So there's that group of people who, that community who, are hearing every headline and just like hanging on those words. And then there's those that are complete opposite and are like, every headline, they can see right through it, and they've been down every rabbit hole and just not even letting this shit bother them. Don't even care anymore, right? And then there's the in-between, where it's like you gotta know to some point what's going on, but still enjoy your life and be in that spiritual space. So we've got, you can really see the different communities, different parts of society, and who is where and what. And the divide is getting a lot clearer. The divide's getting very, very clear. To where 2 years ago, the divide was such a blur. I had no idea, right? Like it was very blurry. Now, it's very, very clear who is where. But we do have this whole new masculine energy that is going through it at this point in time. So it's the masculine energy, and that I'm not talking gender, I'm talking energy, but it's the masculine that is now getting in touch with the lighter side of themselves, the emotional side, the watery Pisces side of themselves. And this is gonna need some support. So if you've caught any masculine energies around you and you can see they're a little troubled, a little off, they need support. They need that support because they have no idea what they're getting ready to go through. However, most of you have been there. And it's no joke to take those deep dives within yourself and reach a point where you're accepting of who you are and yourself. And to love yourself to love yourself and accept yourself is the biggest challenge you will ever face in your life. To accept your own life, to love your own life, is the biggest challenge you will ever take. But it's worth it. It's so worth it. And it doesn't mean that you're bulletproof. It doesn't mean that nothing gets to you. But it does mean at the end of the day that you're solid, you're good, you can smile. and say, I did everything the best way I knew how. And I did it my way. Right? So accepting yourself, loving yourself, it's a huge deal. And that's what's going to get every single one of us through these next transits. Because this is going to be intense. Very intense. None of us even know what we're at. Nobody knows what we're up against. There's been so many predictions made about this time. And there's, we all have this feeling of what it's going to be. But to actually paint that picture is, it's still up in the air. Because it could be a nightmare. It could be a nightmare. It could be a technical nightmare to where there is no such thing as nature. To get out into a real area of nature, true nature, is going to be impossible. Everything is going to be so convenient, and everything is going to be right there, and everything is going to be done for your convenience. And that's not something I want. I don't know how many people truly want that, because at that point there's zero privacy. And I mean, there's definite benefits to us all living as a society. There's got to be an in-between. It's going to be, the only way for this to work is to try something we have not tried and we have not done in the past as a human race, as humanity, as society, right? There's got to be a way for this to all work out peacefully to where we're all happy and enjoying life 10 years from now. There's got to be a way for us to do that, and that's what we need to work towards, is creating that. Because at this point in time, it could be an AI nightmare where everything is just, all I got to do is, I got to scan your face, and bam. They know everything about you. Pretty freaky. I mean, it's cool and all. I mean, like, you ain't got nothing to hide. It's cool. That's cool. I mean, thank goodness I'm I'm an adult now. Well, a grown up adult. And I'm not doing the things I was once doing in life, right? Because definitely wouldn't want anybody to know my business. But nowadays, the straight and narrow path for me. You won't catch me doing wrong or breaking a law. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, thank you. All right, so this is a really long video, and I know my voice has been so monotone. I've been in this place of just like mental workout. Yeah, buddy. Thank you so much. I have Venus sitting right on top of my natal Mercury. Yeah, my natal Mercury is 29 degrees of Pisces. Actually, I think Venus has moved on since then. I'd have to start my computer all back up. Venus is moving forward, but today, I believe it was today or yesterday, last night, it sat right on top of my Mercury. That was fun. And this just got me in this place of my Mercury just keeps getting passed up because of where it's at, and it's really got my brain in a space, we'll just say. I wasn't even sure. I've got so many different notes and thoughts for what I want to do for these videos, but for it to be accurate energy, for me to read the energy and it to actually be accurate, I need to do it in the moment, and there's no notes I can take for that. I can push record and see what comes out of my mouth, and that's how I do it. That's the only way I record these. Is there's no script. There's most times I only have a very small idea of what I will be talking about, and I ask my angels, my ancestors, and my guides to guide me and to help me keep everything I say true and honest and real, to protect what I say, to make sure I don't say anything out of line. All right, my loves. Well, I'll be back, and we'll see. I'll be back here in a couple days, and we'll get the report for the beginning of March, end of February. We're moving to better energies, though. Spring's in the air. It's starting to get in the air. We're definitely moving into better energies. It's going to get feisty, though. So I hope you're getting feisty. I hope you feel feisty. I hope you feel ready to go. Ready to smile. Ready to dance. Just ready to enjoy yourself. Because no matter what happens, if I should leave this place tomorrow, then I want to make my last moments happy. And we never know when those will be, so stay happy, right? Peace.